Welcome back to Forward Drive Adventure Crew. Ross and James back in the garage working on the red Jeep. I don't even know what the name is going to be for it later on. But last week we did the bumper. This week what we're going to be doing is we're doing a support for the bumper on the inside, which is a steering box brace from Rough Stuff. And we're going to be welding it in on the inside. So it's going to get sandwiched back here. And then we're going to be building some rock sliders, which James will get to do some welding on his own because he liked it last week. And that's basically, we're going to give him a little more test on that subject. And my kids are working on a broken steering box on this Jeep. And we're going to be doing a hydro assist while we're at it, because I already did the box for them, hydro assist. So we got a bunch of Jeeps in the driveway, and every single one of them needs something done. So we're gonna get to it and start unbolting a bunch of stuff under the hood so we can get to the steer box, get that thing out of the way, and weld the brace. So while we are working on getting the reinforcement done for the steering box, we took off the power steering pump, power steering box, and what we're doing is we're upgrading power steering pump from the stock one to a WJ, and you'll know the difference is when you get a tank that has two of these ports. This is from a WJ. It's a bigger pump. I have them on all of my Jeeps, and just show you, this is the reservoir for the regular one, this is the reservoir for the WJ. And the best thing about it is this pump is a high volume pump without any modifications. I know a lot of people say to drill these out. Every time I touched these, the pump would whine. So like this one is pretty slightly bigger, but I don't want to mess with it because every time I mess with it I would have issues. So we're just putting it in as it's supposed to be in there, and that's it. And they are direct bolt on from a regular one to a WJ pump. And then we're just going to slap on the pulley and we'll be good to go. And then we're going to have fun of hydro assist tapping the box. But we're not doing hydro assist, not till we get the axles in. So now we have the steering box out of James's Jeep, and it was actually recently replaced because it still has some paint marks from when they rebuilt them. So it should be pretty good box. It didn't have too much play in it, but it did have a lot of leaky on the pump. So I'm gonna drill and tap it like I did for Tanya, for myself. Yes, it is a not sanitary process, but it works. Shut up. I got it drilled and tapped, cleaned everything out with the magnet. And by having liquid in there, whenever you push it, it pushes all the garbage towards the magnet, and you'll be able to pull it all out. So that's my technique on the used pumps, so, or boxes actually. So we're gonna put this back in there, and that will be done, so we can start on rock sliders on the red Jeep and welding some of the other things like a hydro assist on the green Jeep. So we got plenty of things going on at the same time. So we're over here welding this. I don't know if you can see this down there now. That's welding the bracket on. Kind of hard to see, huh? Terrible. So there's a bracket right there. That is your steering bracket. Let's see if I can get a good look on this thing. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's fine. See, that's great. And there it is. And so on the other side of this will be another bracket that holds on the front bumper. So this is the step one of replacing the power steering pump, which now we have one from what, WJ, right? Yep. One from a WJ, so it's a high volume, blah, 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 blah. Exciting. There it is, it's ready to go. I think we can throw a couple coats of paint on it and let it dry a little bit, and then we should be able to put the steer box, connect it back in, check it, make sure it doesn't leak anymore. Yeah, it had a really bad leak, like literally. Yeah, I know. It sat on my driveway for a while, I know. Yeah, that sat on my driveway too. It peed. Marked its territory, let people know that an XJ lives here. Oh yeah, I got a bunch of them here. All right, well, we're gonna put the steering box back on and some paint. Let's see what happens next. It's another day, and we're still working on the James's Jeep. Saturday, we got way too many things going on at once. I was working on Daniel's Jeep and his steering box that exploded, and we changed the box. We did hydro assist on it. I finished the ram kind of late into the night, but it's operational. It looks good. Everything's working. So today I am back on installing or building the rock sliders for the red Jeep, and I already drilled some holes on the 1-inch angle iron that's going to be sitting on the body jam line, and it's going to be secured by some 1/4 bolts. That's just going to be holding it down as a step, so when you're stepping on the rock slider, it's going to keep it from falling down, but going up, it's just going to be jamming into the body. This style of a rock sliders are not bad for Overlander style Jeep, Rocklander. If you're really going to be going and bashing it into the rocks, I would highly recommend cutting out the whole rocker panel out and welding in like a 2x6, 2x8, depends how wide you want it to be. That's when you're gonna get really some solid rock slider into this. But I had mine for about 6 years now, and I did not have any issues. My seam line is bent in a few spots from dropping onto big rocks real hard, but it's nothing crazy. It's still, you know, holding it pretty good. So I'll be doing the exact same thing because I already built a few of these. It's a lot easier for me to build them this way. So that's my way of doing things. So what we're doing is we're gonna be putting this thing behind the rocker jam right here, the little pinch seam, which is strong enough, and when we're gonna have the tubes go down right into the unibody frame rail, it's gonna be good, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna build these plates, and then we're gonna drill holes and weld in a threaded washer, so basically you'll be able to unbolt it from here and there, take it off, paint it, do whatever you want, put it back in. So that will make these rock sliders, if you ever go down the road of cutting out this and building, you can take them off and sell it to somebody else. I did that with my first set because I had a little step that was going up closer to the door. It was a little bit annoying after you bash it in. So the new set that I built, they're just flat, and this is what we're doing here as well. We're just building them to be right out level with the bottom of the basically rocker panel. That way when you get out, you're good. If you ever bash it in, it's never going to block your door to where you can't open the door. Plus, this looks real nice. And they're going to be a lot stronger than anything you can buy on the Amazon. So what I did here is I got 4 of these, and basically I drilled small holes. So what is going to happen here is I just marked them and drilled holes in the body here. Right around here is where you have a double metal, so it's the thickest spot. Like right here is a single, and then another overlap right here of a double metal. So here you got more chances of making sure this is the strongest part of your unibody frame rails. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill them out bigger, check the make sure the washer, threaded washer, can fit in there. We're going to grind all this back and weld them in, and then we're going to drill bigger holes in here, put the bolts in it, tighten them up, and that will create a place for me to run the tube out to where the main rock slider is going to be, and then the rock slider is going to have a step in it. So let's get drilling and grinding. Alright, so we got the threaded washers welded in. I'm going to let them cool off so I can run a bolt through there, make sure the threads are good. And I'm going to go drill the plates out. This is a 1/2" 20 thread on these from Rough Stuff. And I'm going to go drill the plates to 9/16 hole, so that way I have some wiggle room for, you know, correction. Make sure that the 1/2" bolt will be able to get in there without any major issues. And then when we have everything good, I'm going to put some bolts in there, spray paint that so there's no rust, and we'll continue off building the rock slider tubes that are going to go to the main rock slider step. I got the plates bolted up with the temporary bolts, which are just lug nuts, because 1/2" 20 is the most common bolt, or stud actually, or nut on the wheels of the Jeep, and I got plenty of those. So what I did right now is I put the main tube, which is a 2x2 by 3/8, right here, and I'm just measuring the gap between the body and the tube. That's where I'm going to be welding it, and I'm trying to make sure I leave enough space at the backs, because we're going to be trimming this up to put the big fenders, and then in the front we're moving it back as well, which is going to be right where the in between the 2 bottom fender bolts, because that's where I normally cut these Jeeps to make sure I can get the big fender flares in for the 37" tires. But about finger thickness between is going to be good, because that leaves you good enough space for the rock slider to have any mud build up, and it's going to be right here. And then there's going to be another step that's going to be sticking out right here. So overall length is going to be about 5 inches, but remember our wheels are going to be sticking out quite a bit So we'll need to make sure that the rock slider can slide over into the tire. You don't want your rock slider to end and get it into the middle of the thread, or you know, if your tires are tucked in, it's not that bad of a deal, but you want your rock slider to push whatever obstacle away so you can get it with the sidewall of the tire. So with that said, I'm gonna measure what the distance is and start cutting out the tube I'm gonna be using to connect the main tube to the frame rails. Alright, I got the tubes tacked in, so I'm gonna get them out and get it pretty much finish welded. Then I'm gonna put it back on and confirm that everything still looks good. The gap is good because a lot of mud usually gets in here and it's kind of annoying. Plus we're gonna have a step, so alright, let's get that on the bench in the vise so I can finish weld out the gaps, and then we'll get to build on the step, and then after that I'll shut off the camera and build the second side and show you the finished product later on. Now that I did the finish weld on this rock slider here, we going to build the step that's going to be on this side of the rock slider. So on my Jeep, I have it from the edge about, what is that, 2.5 inches, and then it is on the outside 4 inches to the outside bend. So that's where we're going to mark the center line, and then at the very end it's a 90. So whatever's left over, we'll leave it a 90, because as you can see it goes out this way. And this rock slider is tucked in a little bit more deeper in, and this step is not big enough. I want, on the red Jeep, I want it to be stepping out more away from the body. As you can see from the door, I only have about 2 inches of the rock slider. I want it to be a little bit more, as if you see how much my wheels are sticking out. So what basic plan is it's going to be bigger steps, so when you lean into it, you're not going to be hitting your doors, and you won't be making these kind of mistakes if you have a rock slider farther out. That's pretty much the reason I'm building them a little bit farther out, and that's how I built Tanya's, is a lot farther out than mine. But basically, I got my measurements. Let's go back. Okay, so I got the step built out. So basically, this is 1.5 inches. This is a 2 inch, so it's very similar in size. And what we're going to be doing is welding it just like mine. So what I did is I cut this side over here to 45, then this 22.5 makes another 45, so it makes a 90 here. But we're on the back, we're doing full 90. And so now we're just gonna center it to where it's not too much on one side, not too much on the other, and we're gonna basically burn it in, and this rock slider is gonna be complete. So it takes a lot of time of, you know, prepping and everything by yourself here, so I'll get this going, and we're gonna have a rock slider complete. All right, one side's complete. Gonna finish the second side, and James is gonna take it home, paint them, and install them, because he's picking up this Jeep this weekend, and we are going out snow wheeling with my friends. Maybe not, we'll see. But it was a long week, a lot of things to do, but I'm glad to get Tanya's Jeep back with the new kitchen, and James is glad to get his Jeep back so he can get few things done on it before we start heading out again. I finished both rock sliders. Here they are, fully complete. All that's left is to grind all the welds, clean up the edges, and give them a good paint, and they're all set. We'll have James pick up his Jeep this week, install his bumper. Finally, we'll do that here. We got a few things to buckle up, because he's gonna have to drive this Jeep all the way back to Bay Area. It's an 1.5-hour drive for him, but this thing does pretty well. We did some maintenance on it, should last him for a while. All right, this is it for this video. We'll see you guys on the next one. Hopefully will be some snow wheeling, because there's a storm outside. I want to go do some snow wheeling, and then maybe camping. We got a few more projects to do on this red Jeep, but we'll finish them sometime later. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next adventure.